It began like a spark in a snowstorm, a single line flashing across the bottom of a morning news ticker that made millions of eyes widen before breakfast. The palace has reviewed the allegations, and what they found shocked everyone. That's it. One quiet sentence at 7:02 a.m., and within minutes, the entire world was on fire. The streets outside Buckingham Palace were cold and quiet, but the air felt electric. You could almost hear the collective gasp spreading from London to Los Angeles. Because no one, absolutely no one, expected the palace to say a word about that rumor. Yes, the one that had been tearing through YouTube, TikTok, and late-night gossip shows like wildfire. The claim that Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew had shared a hidden relationship, the kind of whispered scandal that dances somewhere between power and desire, where everything starts sounding too crazy not to be true. Outside the palace gates, reporters in thick coats pressed closer, their breath fogging in the frosty air. The cameras flashed, capturing the faint glow of the royal crest against the gray sky. The city itself felt like it was holding its breath. The world had seen its share of royal messes, but this was something else entirely. Two of the most controversial names in royal history suddenly tangled together in one shadowy story. It was explosive. Inside those walls, senior officials were already in crisis mode. They'd spent 2 sleepless days dissecting blurry screenshots, AI-manipulated videos, and so-called receipts that were circulating faster than wildfire. Some were so ridiculous they'd make you laugh. Others were frighteningly convincing. But a few, especially the ones showing old yacht photos and mysterious guest lists, were dangerous enough that silence was no longer an option. The scariest part wasn't the rumor itself, it was how fast people believed it. From California living rooms to coffee shops in London, the theory spread like gospel. Andrew was already a fallen prince, Meghan a lightning rod for global opinion. Together, they made the perfect storm. And in an era where fake images looked more real than truth itself, it didn't take long for fiction to become fact. So how did we get here? How did a lie become so big that even the palace had to break its golden rule of silence? To understand that, we have to rewind back through years of royal drama, bruised egos, and digital chaos. Andrew's downfall had left deep cracks in the royal image. By late 2025, he'd been stripped of everything: titles, duties, respect, and told to vacate Royal Lodge, the one place he still clung to like a ghost of his former self. His connection to Epstein had resurfaced again thanks to new documentaries. Old interviews replayed. Newspapers revisited testimonies. Every detail of his scandal was reanalyzed and reignited. Within palace walls, Andrew wasn't even spoken of as prince anymore. He was a problem, an embarrassment best left in the shadows. And in that silence, conspiracy culture did what it always does: it filled the void. YouTube channels, TikTok threads, fringe forums, they all started weaving fragments into fantasy. Someone found an old party photo, someone else twisted a guest list, and suddenly Meghan Markle's name appeared beside Andrew's. A timeline popped up claiming she was at an event she never even attended. Screenshots were edited, faces blurred and replaced. Before long, the narrative was too dramatic for the internet to resist. It didn't matter that fact-checkers debunked it over and over. What mattered was how it felt. Andrew's disgrace, Meghan's polarizing image. Combine them, and you had a scandal ready-made for clicks. Inside Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere turned icy. Camilla was the first to say it out loud. "If we stay silent, it looks like we're hiding something." She was right. Allowing Meghan to be dragged into Andrew's mess, even falsely, was not only unfair, it was dangerous. William was more strategic. "This isn't about one rumor," he told advisors. "It's about the monarchy's credibility. If people start believing this nonsense, it becomes history." And so, as the first snow of December fell, the palace began planning a response, carefully worded, calm, and controlled. Not to feed the rumor, but to stop the machine that had created it. The first sign that this wasn't just another gossip cycle came from Princess Anne. She received a media briefing one morning and paused halfway through. The documents were filled with identical claims, repeated by 5 different accounts, same phrases, same photo edits, same errors. Someone was coordinating it. "This isn't organic," she said flatly. Someone's manufacturing a connection. Charles took one look at the material and knew she was right. The idea that Andrew and Meghan could be tied even falsely to anything resembling a shared secret was intolerable. Meghan, whatever one thought of her, was still his daughter-in-law. The monarchy could not allow her name to be smeared alongside Andrew's crimes. Then came the tech report from the palace's digital analysts, and it was chilling. The posts supporting the rumor hadn't just popped up overnight. They had been planted weeks earlier, waiting for the perfect moment to go viral. And one image in particular stood out, a grainy yacht photo supposedly showing Meghan near Andrew in the early 2010 seconds. Investigators traced it back. It wasn't Meghan at all. It was a European model whose photo had been used in old hoaxes. Only this time, AI tools had subtly reshaped the face to look like her. Smooth skin, faint shadows, artificial realism. To an untrained eye, especially among older viewers, it looked horrifyingly believable. And it worked. American morning shows picked it up, giving it legitimacy it never deserved. "We don't know what the palace is hiding," said one anchor with a smirk. That line alone was enough to ignite another round of outrage. William was furious. His data team told him that 68% of the rumor's engagement came from U.S. audiences aged 55 to 70, the same demographic that adored the royals and trusted visuals over words. "If they believe this," he said quietly, "it becomes fact. It becomes history." But the real push came when Andrew himself started muttering to his aides. "She's not innocent either," he said. Maybe it was bitterness, maybe it was self-pity, but those words uttered by the one man who could reignite the fire spread fast. Even if unintentional, it was enough to make the palace panic. Camilla saw the danger immediately. If Meghan gets tied to Andrew's world, even through lies, she warned, we lose the moral ground we fought for. And that was it. The decision was made. The palace would speak. The meeting was tense. Charles sat at the head of the table, his expression grim. The folder in front of him was stuffed with fake images, edited timelines, and wild theories. "This isn't gossip anymore," Camilla said sharply. "It's orchestrated slander, and it's poisoning us all." William agreed. "The problem isn't just the people who believe it, it's the ones who want it to be true." He leaned forward, his jaw tight. "They don't need proof, they need drama. Meghan provides that. Andrew completes it." Anne, flipping through the documents, added bluntly, "If we let this stand, we make a mockery of what we did to hold Andrew accountable." Charles sighed. "What about Harry?" William didn't hesitate. "He'll defend Meghan with everything he's got. And if he thinks we're ignoring this, he'll take it public. We need to act before he does." That settled it. Camilla tapped the table lightly. "Then we say it. They are not connected. Their paths never crossed. And we end this." By noon, drafts were flying between departments. Every word was scrutinized. They couldn't sound defensive. They couldn't sound emotional. The statement had to be clear, factual, and final. Outside, cameras gathered as snow fell on the palace gates. Reporters shivered, waiting. Then, finally, at midday, a staff member emerged with a single sheet of paper embossed with the royal crest. Within seconds, it was everywhere. Following review by internal and external advisors, no evidence has been found to support claims of any private, personal, or historical connection between the Duchess of Sussex and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It was sharp, direct, and absolutely unprecedented. The palace never mentioned Meghan so openly, especially not alongside Andrew. But this time, they had to. Any suggestion linking the Duchess to matters related to Mr. Mountbatten Windsor's legal history is entirely false. That sentence hit the press like a bombshell. News anchors froze mid-broadcast. Social media exploded. Across the world, headlines screamed, "Palace breaks silence, Buckingham denies hidden relationship, Meghan and Andrew fabrication confirmed." Inside the palace, William felt a quiet satisfaction. For once, they had confronted a rumor before it consumed them. Camilla sat back, calm but exhausted. "We disciplined Andrew for real reasons," she murmured. "We can't let fiction undo that. Charles, usually a man of restraint, admitted softly, "There comes a point when silence becomes negligence. And so the monarchy, an institution built on mystery, did something extraordinary." It explained. By the afternoon, the statement had reshaped the narrative. In California, Meghan sat at her desk, reading it again and again. She wasn't emotional, just quiet. After years of feeling abandoned by that very institution, she was shocked to see it defend her even indirectly. "It's not a defense," she said to Harry. "It's a line in the sand." Harry, pacing behind her, couldn't hide the flicker of pride in his eyes. For once, the palace hadn't left them alone in the storm. Meanwhile, in London, Andrew sulked. His aide said he mumbled that people twist everything, though no one was sure if he meant the rumor or the palace statement. But it didn't matter. For once, he wasn't the main story. By evening, the world had split in two. Some praised the palace's clarity. Others claimed the very act of responding proved guilt. But inside those palace walls, something had changed. They'd drawn a line between lies and reality, a line they had avoided for far too long. For Meghan, it wasn't victory, it was survival. For Andrew, it was another haunting reminder that his past would always follow him. And for Charles, it was proof that even centuries-old traditions had to adapt to survive in a world where truth itself could be faked with a click. Because in the end, this wasn't just about Meghan or Andrew. It was about a monarchy learning, painfully, that silence no longer protects, it destroys. By the next morning, the frenzy had begun to fade, but its echo still rattled through every newsroom and social feed. Commentators who'd once sworn the palace would never speak were suddenly praising the statement's sharpness. Even skeptics admitted this time Buckingham had moved with precision. In California, Meghan finally stepped outside for air. The sunlight spilled across her patio, warm and almost unreal after days of tension. Harry joined her, a quiet smile tugging at his face. For once, he didn't have to fight alone. "They finally said it," she whispered. "They finally told the truth." Back in London, Charles sat in his private study looking over the morning papers. The headlines were relentless, but this time they weren't cruel. The monarchy had drawn a clear line and the world had noticed. Camilla entered, placing a cup of tea beside him. "You did what had to be done," she said softly. He nodded, eyes distant. "We didn't defend her for her sake," he murmured. "We defended truth itself." Andrew, meanwhile, was left to stew in the shadows. The very lie he'd silently watched spread had turned into a mirror, reminding him how easily chaos follows guilt. He was no longer the scandal, just the symbol of what happens when silence festers too long. By nightfall, London exhaled. The palace lights dimmed, the snow fell quietly again, and for the first time in weeks, the storm had calmed. The message was clear, timeless, and human. When lies roar loud enough, even crowns must speak.